Joe here at ECRM's Food Service Week in Braselton, Georgia, and I am with Donald Burns, the restaurant coach and author of Your Restaurant Sucks. So,
Boom.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me here. You know, this is, if you've never been to an ECRM show, I'm telling you, it's amazing. Talk about like a personalized service.
Well,
I mean, it's not a food show, okay? This is like a personalized, totally customized thing that actually matches up the people with the right product. I'm totally blown away.
I gave him the tour. This was
Yeah,
his
it was
first
totally blown
time,
away. I've never been to one.
yeah.
It was like totally
So-
amazing, totally amazing.
Well, thank you, and that's one of the things that we usually say. It is not a trade show.
No,
it's
it's
not
not.
an expo.
It's
a very curated experience. It's
customized.
And so I was glad to be able to
Yeah.
give you the tour.
It was very cool.
And so Don just spoke today. Actually, he moderated a roundtable and he spoke. So Stephanie actually did some interviews with him about that. So what we're going to talk about today is Don's second book that's coming out. And the title is Your Restaurant Still Sucks, because being average
Still sucks.
still sucks.
Yeah. Well, actually, the subtitle is Stop Playing Small,
Okay.
Get What You Want, Become a Badass.
Okay. Well, that's a long
That's it.
subtitle, so
Ah, you know, I'll break it down. It's a little print, though, in the book. You won't even notice.
So tell us about the new book. Why was that? What prompted second book?
Well, you know, the first book did really, really extremely well, and I got great reviews from it and stuff like that. And I just want to take, you know, the second book, I just want to take it a little bit deeper, a little deeper dive. And so in the second book, what I talk about more, we dive actually more into the mental game.
Okay.
You know, the mindset, because I find really what holds restaurants back is it's all mindset. A lot of people say, you know, restaurant success, you know, there's a lot of restaurant experts,
Yeah.
gurus out there, you know, buy my new system or buy this software, buy this POS system, and all your problems are going to be solved. That's not true.
No.
You know, systems are great, and you need systems, trust me, but you also need strategy
Yeah.
behind it. And I would say systems and strategy makes up 20%. The 80% people don't talk about is mindset, because you got to know what your blind spots are. You got to know about what your strengths are, what makes you tick, what's holding you back, what are your fears, what are your habits. You know, there's a lot of habit traps we have that actually stop us from getting the restaurant we want. And if we're not aware of those things, we just basically just kind of keep going, and it's doing what Einstein said, the definition of insanity, doing the same things over and over and
Expecting the same
different
results.
you know?
Different results. Yeah.
Right, and that's
Well, You mentioned something today that was interesting, and it kind of relates to this with the mindset. And you're referring to mindset throughout the leadership. You know, from the leader,
Right.
the top,
Culture flows down.
all the way down. But the way you put it in perspective was you mentioned, you asked the audience, you know, in one given market, they're all getting from the same distributors.
you can buy.
They're you know, so the way you differentiate is how you work with them, the people part of the business. So I can see how the mindset is a big part of that.
And then in book 2, Your Restaurant Still Sucks, I dive really into, one of the tools I use as a coach is I use a behavioral survey. I use one called the ProScan. And what it does, it measures your 4 basic behavioral traits. Now, you have them all. We just have them all in different amounts. That's what makes everyone so unique. Everyone has dominance, which is your take charge trait. Everyone has extroversion, which is your people trait. And you can tell right away the people that are
Yeah.
you know, extroverts. Pace is your patience trait or rate of motion. And conformity is basically your systems trait. Again, you have all of them, but you have them in different combinations. So if you're a real high dominant person, you're going to be really kind of results driven. You don't really want to chit chat. You just like, what do you want? What do you need? Stuff like that.
Getting down to business.
Yeah, get down to
Yeah.
business. Now, here's the thing I find, you know, working, and I've worked for years with thousands of restaurants. The behavioral traits that make up the owners and the leaders are usually totally opposite of the people that work in restaurants.
Okay.
And that's where we get the conflict. Because we always think, it's like wearing glasses. We think people wear our prescription. So we think people see the world as we see it.
Yeah.
But they don't.
No.
And the same thing, you know, you go in your team and you're frustrated. I don't know why they don't get it. How come they're not, you know, they don't take charge? How come they just don't want to be motivated? How come they don't do this and this? Well, because they're not like you. And until you understand that, understand how you're wired and then how they're wired, and then you can basically start breaking it down and understand, okay, the way I come across, I have to change the way I talk to them, the way I communicate, and I have to differentiate myself, and I have to learn to make adjustments.
So empathy is a big part of this.
Empathy's huge.
You know, you need
But
to be able to see
understand
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
See things from their
definitely.
perspective.
You gotta see things
in order
from
to kind of address things in a way that they can relate to.
Yeah, I use the joke a lot of times. It's like you want to walk a mile in someone else's shoes
Yeah.
because number one, you're a mile away, and you have their shoes.
So that's cool. That's and that's something that just personally I love reading about that type
Yeah.
of stuff. Anything with cognitive science that's related to the mindset and how to use that to improve, whether it's productivity, performance.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So what else are you covering in this book?
Well, this book, again, we dive into that. I dive more into team development, what really makes a team. We have a lot of misconceptions about teams. And so this book's going to dig a lot more into team. I really dig a lot more into culture in this one. I don't hit as much. In the first book, I hit a lot of stuff on menus. And, I do have some stuff in marketing about this one. But it's almost set up the same way as the first book was. It's not, and if you haven't read my first book, you should pick it up. But it's not an A to Z book. You don't have to read from like the front to the back to get it.
You can dip in.
You jump in. I mean, like I always tell people, like pick a section. Like today, I'm going to do culture, so I pick a section about culture and I read it and then I apply it. The book only works when you take the lessons out of there and you actually apply them to your life. You can. There's tons of people read tons of books all the time.
Yeah.
You know that,
Yep.
right?
Oh yeah.
But do they apply them?
That's another story.
That's the other story. And that's what this book is about. I want you to take the lessons in the book, I want you to break it down, I want you to take something and I want you to apply it to your life, to your restaurant, to finally get the thing that is actually what you really want. And that's the life you want. Here's the thing about running a restaurant. You don't have to sacrifice. Everyone thinks they have to sacrifice their life to the restaurant.
Well, that's what you usually hear.
Yeah. Oh, I would ask people this question. Do you run your restaurant or does your restaurant run you?
Okay. Yeah.
If your restaurant's running you, then that's got to change. And you can have it all. You can have the restaurant you want and have a life, if you make a couple shifts in your mindset.
Now, how tough is it to make those shifts in the mindset?
It's tough. Well, it's tough to make those shifts on your own.
Okay.
That's why you usually want to get an accountability partner. And there's lots of options out there. You can get, someone like maybe you have a good friend who's on the same path as you.
So it
as
doesn't
far
have
as-
to be someone you hire.
Yeah, it could be
necessarily.
someone
It's just
basically.
someone,
You can get a good friend
Yeah.
as an accountability partner. You can get a mentor.
Okay.
Like I mentioned like my Restaurant Coach Nation on Facebook. We have a mentorship program on there. It's free.
Okay.
Free,
Free, guys.
You can get a mentor for free, but someone that basically can hold you accountable. And if you really want to be serious, just like you and I could go to the gym, we could work out, right? But if I really want to take it to that level, let's say I want to really I want to like train for a triathlon or something like that. I need to hire a professional.
Somebody who
I need to
knows
hire
exactly
a
how to
pro
do that.
who actually knows where I'm gonna get stuck at, and he kind of knows the route I need to be, and he's gonna help kind of have a plan, and then he's gonna kind of help me and he knows when I get stuck, he's gonna push me through, and that's what a coach does.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes they also provide the motivation that you lose. I mean, some people need to have that constant motivation. I do it kind of the way you were talking about. You have a friend. I have a friend who's also on the same path. We're both looking to get in better shape, and and we're he's telling me his goals and what he's doing, and I'm doing the same thing with him. And it definitely helps having that other person.
See, I fell in love with the coaching process back in 2008. So 2008, I was consulting. In 2008, the market
Yes.
crashed, right? So then I hired a business coach to help me kind of rebrand, right,
Yeah.
and do a new business model. And it was as he took me through the coaching process, I really like this coaching process.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? There's really nothing out there. I kind of Googled around. There was no one at that time doing restaurant coaching.
Yeah.
So I actually got certified as a coach. And that's where I started this new restaurant model, this new business
So
model,
applying
being,
it to
being
restaurants.
a
Okay,
restaurant,
yeah.
and that's why I became the restaurant coach.
Gotcha.
And I still have, to this day, I still have the same business coach.
Oh, yeah, well, if it ain't broke.
Yeah, it ain't broke. And also too, here's my thing. I love coaching, and I believe in it so strongly that I have a coach because I know that in order for me to get better, I need someone who can push me to that next
Yeah.
level.
Well, you're also
You know.
walking the,
gotta walk the talk,
walking
man.
the talk.
Yeah.
So when is this book coming out?
Comes out in about 2 weeks, mid-April. I would say, since we probably have a video snippet, I'm gonna say safely mid-April. It'll be up on Amazon. Your restaurant still sucks, and then I have a little booklet coming out. It'll be on Amazon available too. It's called Outstanding Mindset: How to Set Yourself Up for Success by Getting a Great Habit and a Daily Ritual.
Excellent. Well, and we will be sharing those links as they're available. And you could also find them on Facebook. You said the restaurant.
You can find the Restaurant Coach Nation, Restaurant Coach business page. I'm on LinkedIn, of course, Donald Burns.
And we'll share those links with
I'm
you
all
as
over the
well.
place.
Yes.